Yeah. I don't really know. Do you want like another story of
Like a
mine?
soundbite.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe you could talk a little bit about
Should I talk that tampon story? That tampon story is really funny, actually. To me.
what is it?
When I had sex and I thought I had a tampon in, but I actually didn't. And then I went to the hospital. Well, I was at my parents' house and I was like, didn't I have my period? And I was like,
Okay,
oh my
just
god.
do the mic and tell me.
Okay, I was like at my parents' house and I was like, oh my god. And I went to the bathroom and then I was like, did I have sex with someone last night? Oh, so bad. But then I was like, oh my god,
But you don't. You,
I did. No, I was like, I did. But like, did I ever take out my tampon? Because at this time, I like really started to wear tampons. I never really did. So it's really aware that I was wearing a tampon or something. Whatever. And then it really, really freaked me out. And I was with my parents. And then I was in the bathroom. And I literally barged out of the bathroom being like, Dad, I have to go now. I'm going to take the train. I have to go. I have to go to the hospital. And like, weirdly, my dad, like, this is probably the reason why I remember this memory. Because he took it. He, like, the way he handled the situation was like so weird. But he was like, okay, I'm really proud of you that you know that you have something wrong with you and you're gonna go to the hospital. I swear. And I was like, okay. And so I took the train. I swear that happened because I took the train by myself back to the city and I was like with my friend Emily and I was like, oh my god, there's a tampon stuck in me and I think I'm gonna die. And she was like, I'm gonna hospital with you. She was like, but I'm really tired, like let's go in the morning. And I was like, okay, we'll go in the morning. And we woke up at like 7 in the morning, went to that like hospital, like the general hospital, like Dundas and Bathurst, and then waited for actually really not that long. And then I explained my reason. I remember you go to like the woman at the front and then you're like, she's like, what's wrong with you or something? And I was like, I think I have a tampon sucking me. And she's like, why? And I was like, because I had sex last night, but I really don't remember if it's like, if I had it with it. And she literally was like, I think you would know. And I was like, I really don't think I know. And I think like it's in me very deeply. And she was like, okay. And like wrote down the thing. And I actually still have like the papers to her where it says, patient thinks that tampon is stuck in her after intercourse. And it literally has a ... in the pink paper, I swear to God.
why would there be a tampon?
It was just like stupid, but like she was also fucking with me too. And like I thought it was funny after because we had it like framed in that house because it was so funny because it's like ... I feel like I showed you. It's like a pink paper and even has Emily's name on it being like person to help me. Yeah, whatever. And so we like are waiting and then it becomes like maybe like 9 o'clock or something. And we get in and it's like normal. It's like pretty clean. It's like was like a fine time, but I'm like scared because like I'm like, oh shit, I have like a tampon in me and I'm scared I'm gonna get like toxic shock syndrome, which is a very scary thing. And then, so yeah, so I go into like this room and I'm in a hospital gown and I'm like, oh, wow, this is very, very real. And I like wonder if I'm gonna like die or, be very like injured from this situation. And then so we're like actually waiting in this like room for a really, really long time. We're in this room for a really long time. And then finally this nurse comes in and she's like so sweet. And she's like, you're gonna be fine. Like, it's okay. And she's like, touch my arm. And she like, doctored me here like really, really soon. And it's a woman, so it's okay. You're gonna be okay. And I'm like, that's so nice. Thank you so much. And Emily's like in the room with me. My friend Emily's in the room with me. And then, whatever. So then the doctor comes in and she's like very fucking serious. And then but she's also young, but she's really serious. And she's like, is this your friend? And I was like, yes. And she's like, what's your name? And Emily's like, Emily or something. And then she's like, can you like watch, like step outside and like be a watch? Like basically being like, can you like look out? And Emily literally looks at me with like wide eyes and she's like, what the fuck? And she's like, okay, I will, and leaves this like whatever the curtain room and like is like being like a watch, as if I'm like there's like fucking people coming to like kill me or something. And like she comes with her clipboard beside me. She's like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And like I tell her what happened. She's like, yes, I heard. And she's like, well, right now there's UFT students who are learning about the pelvis currently, and they're like doing some sort of fucking class. And she's like, is it okay like if like I bring a student in to like just like learn like what's happening, and like they may like also like if I like they might like do something, but like I'll like teach them, like it's just like for the purpose of that because that's happening, whatever, blah blah blah. But I don't even like care. And like I was like, just like fucking get this tampon out of me. I don't give a fuck. And I didn't say that. I was just like, yeah, whatever. But in my head, I was like, I don't really care what you have to say. Like, I've been waiting for you and you just need to like fucking help me. And then, so she goes and leaves for like a few seconds and then comes back. Okay, mind you, my fucking legs are on this, like, when you get a pap smear, it's like, yeah, like your legs are, my legs have been out like that this whole time also. Anyway, so then she comes in and then it's this boy who is like the fucking, I keep swearing, but he's like the nerdiest boy I've ever seen in my entire life. He's like so skinny, so like tiny, so tiny, and he has like glasses and like a little bit of like after shadow, 5 p.m. shadow, whatever it's called. He's like so tiny, but he's like so nervous. He's so nervous, and he like really like looks at my vagina like right when he comes in. He's like looking at it, like trying to get eye contact with me, and I'm like, dude, like you don't even look at me. And it's like crazy. It's just like already crazy already. And this boy's like shaking. He's like has these like rubber gloves on. And then she's like, okay, Chelsea, like we're gonna do an ultrasound. Like the gel's gonna be kind of cold, but we just need to see like how deep the tampon is. So she's like, whatever, I'm gonna call him like Jared. And she's like, okay, Jared. Okay, but this guy's like Persian. So like,
what's his real name?
I don't remember, but he's Persian. He was definitely Persian or something. No, I'm not wrong with that. He definitely was, and he had like glasses. Anyways, I'm just still gonna call him Jared. And then she was like, or maybe I should say, what do you call like people who are missing? Like Jane Doe. So this is like John Doe. So I'm like John, whatever. John is like, she's like, John, like, do you want to like try to do this ultrasound, like whatever. She's like teaching him, but I'm still like whatever there. And then there's like this nurse who's like kind of the same age as me, who's like also maybe a student, but she's like being very sympathetic to me, and she like knows how fucking awkward this is, because I guess she knows what's going to happen, but I don't. And she's like looking at me with these like doe eyes, being like, it's gonna be okay. And all I'm thinking about is like, get this fucking tampon out of me and let me fucking go home and whatever. This is so fucked. And meanwhile, I will say, like, maybe I should say this after, I'm gonna say it now. Meanwhile, this is happening. Emily's outside keeping watch, quote unquote, but she's actually like having an awkward situation where there's this boy across from her sitting named like Fox or something that she matched on Tinder the night before, who's like in an IV.
Fox?
Yeah, but Emily matched with him on Tinder.
I knew this guy named Fox.
Yeah, and like she left the room, and what happened was my life was happening like that, and Emily's life, she confronted this like Tinder guy that she just matched with last night, and I guess like had such a crazy night that he was like stuck to an IV just sitting there, and they were like, oh hi. So Emily's like chatting up this like Tinder boy from last night, even though she's supposed to like fucking keep watch or something. So that's just like interesting that like
Fox.
Blonde,
No.
big lips. Okay, true. Well, then it's like a different person. But then like that was happening. So I thought Emily was just like bored out of her mind. Whatever. I actually wasn't really thinking about her because I was like, this is crazy. But she's doing that. And then, the story's like so goddamn long, but the end of it, what happens is that like, she's like, I don't see a tampon in the ultrasound. Like, we're just gonna have to like feel inside and see what's going on. And so she asks like John to then practice on me, and like the way he like was so nervous, and the way this like other nurse was like looking at me being like, it's gonna be okay, like literally it's like the storyline to Handmaiden.
Oh.
Because I was like just being like tested on, and I was just like laying there, and this boy's like literally fucking fisting me. He's like so deep in me, and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? And he has like eye contact with me, and he's just like looking at me, but then there's like a camera here like that's like with the ultrasound like seeing what's going on, but he's like literally fucking fingering me for like 5 minutes, but staring me in my eyes, and I'm like, I can't even feel a thing because this is just like so horrifying. But I gave my consent, so I guess like I allowed this to happen. And then I was like, oh my god, this guy's just fingering me. And he like knew it, and whatever, was probably like so scared, honestly. That was probably like so more horrifying for him than me. And then after that like whole long time of that not happening, she's like, well, Chelsea, like you didn't have a tampon stuck in you, but I can understand how you can like think that happened because of the night that you have, so that's okay, but the best thing is that you don't have it stuck in you. Thank you. And like literally fucking leaves. And Emily comes back in and she's like, did they get it out? And I'm like,
Yes.
relaying the story, being like, no. And then she's like, well, guess what? There's that guy Fox outside, blah, blah, blah. And then I just leave, whatever. That's literally all it is. It's maybe not that good of a story, but it's like pretty funny.
I think it's funny.
That I got like fingered.
And like little fingering noises.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's not that good of a story. Maybe I have a better story.
I'm gonna just record the fingering noises now so it's all the same track.
Thank you for listening.
I need you, you're everything to me, 'cause I need you, and you complete me, 'cause I need you, you're everything to me, 'cause I need you, and you complete me, 'cause I need you, you're
My name is Emerson Rosenthal. I am a screenwriter and the guy behind the account Free Movie Ideas, and I live and work in New York.
Cool. And how are you doing today?
Yeah, really good. Got some writing done this morning. Gonna do some more writing this afternoon. Probably gonna make a video with Lauren Servideo, who is my girl and my partner and my fiance. And,
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's going to be really funny, we hope.
I have two questions, actually. Can I ask, like, how you proposed marriage?
Yeah, it was Valentine's Day, and I did it first thing in the morning, sort of just got right out of bed.
Yeah.
And grabbed the ring and did it.
Did you?
Our parents were like, we were on vacation down in Miami together.
Nice.
And her parents came down as well. And it was like the last day of their trip, but it happened to be Valentine's Day. So it all just sort of lined up perfectly.
That's sick. Did you ask permission beforehand?
I did, yeah, the night before from her dad.
Was he stoked?
He was, but then he like had to keep it a secret. And, you know, I guess he was having a hard time not saying anything. So it was, I think it was also the night of the Super Bowl that I asked him, but he told me later that he could barely pay attention to the game.
Damn. That's awesome. I like proposal stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I've never really been a big Valentine's Day guy, but everything came together at sort of the perfect time. And now it's not Valentine's Day, it's the day I proposed.
When's the wedding happening?
We don't know yet. Probably
All
sometime
right,
next year.
cool. Do you have any pets?
I do, yeah. I have a yellow-sided green cheek conure who may land on my shoulder.
Is
As
that a cat?
No, it's a bird.
Oh, okay. Wait, what is it called?
Yellow-sided green cheek conure.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
she's
sounds
a small
expensive.
green bird. No, not really. I mean, like parrots can go up like a lot in price, but she
Oh, it's a
wasn't bad.
parrot.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
And then she did get to be expensive the one time that she flew away, and we put up a reward to get her back, and we actually did get her back.
Wow.
And we had to pay the reward.
Was she far away?
Yeah, she it's kind of a crazy story, but she flew out, or actually she chewed her way out of a screen door that was like the only, plastic screen at the house. It was just kind of like, didn't think about it because it was sort of a crisis time. We were out of town and she was staying with Lauren's parents. And she chewed her way out while everybody was like dealing with the worst symptoms of the COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So they, didn't find her later in the bathroom, and were like freaking out once they found the tiny bird-sized hole that she had chewed her way out of. And so they put up a bunch of missing posters and stuff all over town. And this is in like Albany, Schenectady, in a town called Colony.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, they, were super, super, super upset because we were on vacation and they didn't want to ruin our vacation, but they also didn't know what to do about the bird. And one day, probably 3 or 4 days later, they got a phone call from somebody saying like, "Hey, I think I found your bird." And then she sent over some photos, and it was like, "Holy shit, we've we've found the bird." And what we found out that she did afterwards was she flew about 2 miles and landed on the head of a roofer who was working on top of a roof.
Yeah.
And he came down the ladder and asked the person whose house it was, like, "Is this your bird?" And they were like, "No." And then so he asked next door, and then they were like, "Yeah, that's our bird." And they just like took the bird.
They just wanted like a free bird. Those people.
Yeah, they basically just like took the bird and like they got a little cage for it. And this is where the story gets kind of funny. This lady like is on the phone with her ex-husband, and she's telling him like, "Hey, like we just got this new bird. Is there any chance like you can watch it when we go away to Disney?"
Yeah.
And the husband was like, "Wait a sec, like what kind of bird is that?" And she described the bird, and then he went right back into the supermarket and looked at the poster. And
like he had just seen the poster.
He had just seen the poster and looked back at the poster and like described the bird. And it turned out that it was the bird. And so he told her that there was a reward, and we ended up, they paid the reward and got the bird back, and then. They told us the story in a really funny way. Actually, Lauren's mom did something really funny that I'll show you right here. Our bird's name is Mabel, but we also call her Chorby. So when we got back from our trip, Lauren's mom presented us a little book called Chorby's Big Adventure.
Oh, wow.
And, it's just this kind of like fun illustrated story about like the bird, and then we get to a part where it's like
she wrote it, her mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And drew the pictures.
And then we get to and drew the pictures.
Sweet. Wow, it's
Pretty
like
cool.
She kind of went off. I guess people can't see this when they're listening, but it's like looks like a really well done children's book.
Yeah, and then we get to the part where she gets out, and we're like, "Oh, okay, that's like cute." And then we get to, her adventures while she's out. And then we get to this page where it's a picture of our bird with a woman who we don't know.
Right.
And that was where we began to realize.
Wait, I'm confused, actually. You hadn't even got the bird back yet when...
No, we got the bird back.
Okay.
And they presented us this book. And then we get to this page where we're like, who is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. The people that found your bird made this book.
No. Lauren's parents made this book, but they ended up getting a picture, like in order to prove that this was the right bird.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Found the bird,
Gotcha.
sent over a picture.
Gotcha.
And basically, we got to this point in the book, and we started to think about like whether this had actually happened or not.
Yeah.
And the story ended, and we were sort of shocked. And then they told us like actually all of the events that had transpired. But the really funny thing is that we were in Paris at the time. And it's a weird coincidence, but if you can see right in the background, the woman who had found the bird, or the woman who had said that the bird was hers, that eventually returned the bird, had taken a picture of herself with the bird in front of a poster of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
So it was like the bird had also gone to Paris.
Right.
With us, even though she, probably almost.
What was the size of that reward?
It was like a couple $100, which, not great, but she's worth it.
Yeah, that's not nothing. Well, I was going to say, how much would it cost to buy one of those birds?
I think it depends. If you go directly to a breeder, it's cheaper than if you go to like PetSmart, where they tend to jack up the prices on everything. But it's like anywhere from like I think PetSmart does them for like $700 or $800.
Oh, that's more than I was expecting.
Yeah, a lot less from a breeder.
Yeah. Huh.
They used to make fun of me. They used to always say, they'd be like, you could take Dave out of Indiana, but you can't take the Indiana out of Dave. Because we had employees in Washington, D.C. and stuff like that. I'm like, what do you guys mean by that? And they were like, well, you're the digital cowboy. I'm like, well, what is a digital cowboy? And they're like, well, you're like this farm guy, cowboy guy, but you also are a software developer, that sort of stuff. And so they kept calling me the digital cowboy, and then they just shortened it to DC, so it just stuck. So I just kept going from DC at that point.
All right, well, I guess we should get into this photo.
Yeah. In keeping with the theme of my work, right? You asked for a screenshot. And all my free movie ideas are screenshots.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like just for anyone who doesn't know the Instagram account, if you want. Well, I guess you're about to do that anyway. Like, give a rundown of it. What it actually is.
So yeah, I while I'm screenwriting, I get ideas for other stuff that maybe I can't get to in time, because I think it's good to really like focus on one thing at a time and like one aspect of it, like, so you could do like one, be writing a script and be writing a treatment of something else, but I wouldn't recommend like writing on two scripts at once. Just like gets muddy and blurry for me. And so one of the ways that I maintain being creative when I'm doing the execution side of writing is by generating movie ideas and giving them away for free on an Instagram account called Free Movie Ideas. And so they go into my notes app on my phone, and then I screenshot them, and then I post them on Instagram. And sometimes people start to write them, and other times people don't even see them because the Instagram algorithm doesn't favor text posts like this. But been doing it for 4 years now. I have over 2,600 ideas by now, and some of them have even gotten made into stuff. So that's pretty cool, and they're just meant to be like fun prompts for anybody, and they also work as movies from just ideas, where you read the idea and then you just kind of imagine what that movie might be like inside your head, and that's sometimes that's what it's going to be. It's good enough.
And a lot of them are very funny.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to add to the the vibe of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are for comedies.
But then some of them are when I only found your account recently, and then I kind of thought they were all meant to be funny, but then I started to realize that I was only just interpreting them that way, because it's Instagram and it's kind of I don't know. Yeah. Something about it is lighthearted, right? But then when you start to actually think about if this was a movie, this is probably just something about movies in general, but something that's funny could also just be super dark too. A lot of them seem like they could be really dark. I was planning to do this beforehand, but I was gonna get you to read one or find. Or just maybe I'm just gonna read a random one just to is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Or do you have a favorite one?
Well, what I was gonna do for my photo is
okay. Let's do that.
Okay, so what I've got for you today is an unreleased movie idea, which is kind of rare because I generally go.
This is exclusive.
Exclusive to the pod. At the moment, and so you'll be the one to premiere this, but
so I'm never releasing this episode, and I'm just taking this free movie idea.
You'd be well within your power, but at the same time, I hope you don't, because they're for everybody, unless you're going to write it for yourself, in which case, I mean, it's fair game, but you better write it before I do, because the reason that I didn't exactly post this one is because I like it a lot, and I'm thinking about a way to maybe actually dig in. So I'll read you the idea and then maybe you tell me what you think.
Yes.
Okay. So it's created June 29th, 2022 at 3:35 p.m. when my phone was probably at 5% battery, which is sort of a running theme because I don't know.
I actually noticed that scrolling through the account that your phone's dead a lot.
Yeah. I just, it's just how it is. I've never, I don't know, cared that much about phone livelihood.
Yeah.
But it's weird because it stresses people out, which I think is funny, but I think it just sort of adds to how these ideas will sort of come at any moment, and it doesn't matter if it's opportune or not. There have definitely been moments where I've been writing an idea and suddenly it's died, and moments where I've been trying to post an idea and suddenly it's died, and luckily I don't think I lost too much work that way, but this one was probably at 5% when inspiration struck. It is a meta neo-noir wherein a tireless 1940s detective chases a psychopathic killer criminal for so long that they somehow wind up in the present day without having aged, with no idea how they got there.
Okay. Wait, so does it begin, is there a specific year or decade where it starts out?
40s.
Okay. And then they end up in now, just from playing cat and mouse.
Yeah. But somehow, they haven't aged, and what I really like about it is that it, is a way to sort of translate the classic noir detective tropes to today, but then explore how stuff like crime and policing have evolved. And there's there's one particularly good example of this working that I love, which is this movie The Long Goodbye.
There's a long goodbye, and it happens every day when some passerby invites your eye to come her way.
And there's some theory about the movie The Long Goodbye, which is based on a Raymond Chandler story, but the Robert Altman movie from the 70s is set in the 70s and stars Elliot Gould as Philip Marlowe. But at the very beginning of the movie, he wakes up from what appears to have been a fitful slumber, and some people have interpreted it as being the 1940s detective or the early century detective Philip Marlowe, when the books were written, waking up in a new era. And a lot of the movie has to do with his sort of incompatibility with modern times, where he's too honest and he's too trusting, and he's wearing a suit that doesn't exactly match the colorful sort of post-hippie wardrobe and flowiness that everybody is in. And it's really, really great because he's just a man who's out of his time, and when he actually becomes out of time to solve the mystery, everything really comes together. And I don't think that this is exactly what they planned for the movie to be, and it's a lot more subtle, of course, than my version of this as an idea, because it's more of an interpretation than an actual story rule. But using it as a jumping off point, I feel like the way that you take them out of the story in this sort of endless cat and mouse game, it's almost like a Paul Auster type existential, endless but modern struggle between these two opposing forces would be really interesting to see set against the moment we're currently living in, where I think it would be a great place to see what's changed about crime, right? Are people really more violent? Are the reasons for getting into crime any different than they were during the post-war period? And then I also think that there's certain elements that are very much the same, including some of the brutality that detectives and crime fighters, or alleged crime fighters, will resort to in order to get their man. And also how certain things like detective work, right?
So I was going to say, the internet, etc.
Right. Like looking at a computer and being able to find somebody's address. Where, maybe once upon a time they had to call a switchboard operator to do something like that, or they had to ask neighbors when people weren't registered to everything. So, there's definitely the idea of the surveillance state being a question that they have to deal with. And then I like the idea of this psychopathic killer criminal having to kind of figure out how to be at the top of a current type of gang. And if you think about gangs today, right, when they were dealing with organized crime back then, it isn't exactly a one-to-one in terms of organized crime today, which is a lot more diffuse and something that engineered in various ways, and in many ways in cahoots with the authorities in this sort of endless cat and mouse game. You can look to the war on drugs for an example of, and that's where I really like the framework of this just classic good guy versus bad guy, light versus dark, almost spy versus spy element of the idea going forward.
It would be cool too if then towards the end of the movie, then they go into the future also, and now we're just making stuff up about what catching criminal would be in the year 2050 or whatever. So
I love that.
Yeah, and then I was kind of thinking too, like I could really see a movie like that ending up like not only did they like travel forward in time, but then like somehow by the very end they're back where they started. You know what I'm saying?
Totally making it like
That'd be
cyclical
cool.
like that. That's that, and that would definitely be in line with the sort of Paul Auster element of like the story doesn't end, but
Mm.
rather begins again somewhere that it started. And yeah, I mean, I obviously like haven't come up with too much. You know, I don't know about the characters, and of course, that sort of specificity is what makes a good character.
Yeah.
Whether he's brutal or he's honest, and suddenly has to face that music of needing to be brutal and dishonest, and suddenly the criminal who is already brutal and dishonest finds himself in a kind of criminal paradise, but at the same time lacking some of the freedoms that he experienced, and some of the like wildness that he experienced back in the day when this stuff was still somewhat cutting edge. But I do feel like the cops and robbers story is just a very, very, very old one. And so, to your point about like showing it in the future and then bringing it back to the past again, it absolutely works because this story could be endless.
Well, I was gonna say too, like, are you imagining this is going down in a way where it's like it starts off as the 40s and then we're like traveling through each decade, or are they just in the 40s and then suddenly in the present day and we're skipping everything in between?
I like to skip. I'd like to skip everything in between.
Yeah, I was gonna say
'Cause,
skip.
sake of like expediency, and also sort of keep in line with the long goodbye idea, which is if he just like wakes up one day and it's the year 1970 something,
Yeah.
and then like suddenly he just has to like be there trying to keep his cool. And I think if you went to sleep in the 40s, or you started running in the 40s, like nowhere, and you kept on running after somebody, it's like void, and somehow when you got to the other side of this wormhole, it was 2022, you'd certainly be in for the shock of your life.
It would be cool also if like these characters themselves were like confused about which year it is. Like they're like traveling and then they lose track of like where they are in time, and then it becomes like
Definitely.
psychological for them. I could see that being cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's like the it's sort of built into the detective character, is that he's such like a dog detective that he loses track of everything in pursuit of getting his man, and that time itself seems to be what gets elided in the process, and somehow he wakes up in the present day and he's still the same, but
what if
knows.
what if like there was even like the like the future self detective was like leaving clues like in his wake for like his past self to like find them over time in the search. Do you know what I'm saying? Like leaving like if you're like in like 1995 or something and he's still chasing him then, and he's like, let me like and because like time in this movie is like a line, so and he like becomes aware of that, but then like leaves like some kind of like little note or like something more symbolic of like, here's a clue to catch him in the past.
Yeah, I love that.
Or something. You know what I'm saying?
If you could figure out, the kind of mechanism whereby he is able to communicate with the past in the present. But it's definitely the kind of idea where anything is on the table. There isn't really it's not about like the time travel science.
Right.
So something like that could totally work. Because, you just sort of heighten the drama to the level where the mechanics of the physics that are actually going on aren't as important as you just enjoying that it's a cool story.
Yeah, writing's cool. I guess you can really do anything you want.
Within reason, for sure. I mean, you can
Yeah.
always do anything you want, which is great. But it helps to, I don't know, I guess when I was like starting, I had more of like a do whatever you want in art and like let somebody else understand it mindset about stuff that like maybe I would be doing unconsciously or attempting to be doing like consciously, unconsciously, and just being like, yeah, like it doesn't matter, because somebody else can just like decide what it means. And since then I've I think grown out of that, which I think is probably an impulse of a lot of younger artists, because you're still sort of learning to decipher your own language. But when you can get to a point where the stuff feels like it's coming from a very spontaneous place, but through the production of a discipline, then that's probably, one of the heights that you can achieve, right? Is, to make it feel like it's coming directly out of the unconscious, but you have total control over these magical powers of imagination.
Are you always writing movies, or is it sometimes like, are you ever writing like trying to write a book or like a short story or anything like that?
I've done some short stories. I've started a short story now that I'm slowly working through, which it's cool. It's a lot harder, I find, because of just that, where there's less a necessary structure to it. Like, with screenwriting, it's mechanics.
Yeah.
And a lot of the work is very uncreative in a cool way. It's like nuts and bolts, and it's principles, and it's understandings of like the flow of stories and how characters who are seen in one scene come back later for another scene, or don't come back, and tying up storylines and loose threads and stuff. And the short story, especially with the good short stories that I've read, they never feel super deliberately plotted, or at least the ones that I like never feel super deliberately plotted, and yet they're complex and the characters are really good, and it's something that I have the least experience doing. So it's been a challenge so far, but I like it.
I was gonna say we are slightly over the time, but maybe like a couple more minutes. I just wanted to ask you something, but I'm forgetting what it is now. Oh yeah, like did you do something else before you were writing, or have you always like been writing?
I mean, I've always been a writer to some degree. By like, fifth grade, they had to ask me to stop being the narrator of all of the school plays, so that they could give another kid a shot, because that was like the thing that I wanted to do, and still really is. But I worked as a journalist at Vice, and I was like a host, and I was a editor, and did that for like 7 years, and have worked in video editing and in being a camera person, and it's all been pretty creative work, which I'm very grateful for. Yeah, there was a pretty long period, probably 2011 to maybe 2018, that I wasn't doing like fiction writing or screenwriting, and I realized that was probably why I felt really weird and stifled at the time.
Right. Did you like go to journalism school, or like what'd you do in school?
No, I was at Vice, which is sort of a different kind of journalism.
Right.
No journalism experience required.
Was it like awful working there, or was it kind of chill?
I got its ups and downs. I mean, there was difficulty with the way that the company itself was set up, more than any issues with any of the people. In fact, I love and, still talk to and still even work with a lot of people that I met there, which was really cool. And one great thing was that, they would give sort of unheard of opportunities to very young, often very unqualified people like myself, where, I was still in college and hosting like a 3-part documentary series on water rights in the United States. And, I was not
Like you started
prepared.
out as an intern or something.
Yeah, I started out as an intern, and by like the next year was like doing real journalist stuff, or like as real enough as I could sort of LARP it, and that was totally cool and fun. And I think that a lot of the work that got done was cool. And another thing is that there's just so many things that you can do at a place like that, which is exciting if you want to, or if you're in a place, especially like I was, where you're like not exactly sure what it is you should be doing and want to just like get a lot of hands-on experience doing a lot of different stuff.
I'm thinking about like a free movie idea where like a 20-year-old guy gets a internship at Vice and it's like 2009, and that's kind of the premise.
Yeah, it's definitely that would probably
I'd watch that.
An even wilder time than when I started. There's somebody who wrote I think there's like 1 or 2 screenplays about what Vice was like when it was getting started. And the problem is that they're written from the outside. They're written from the perspective of somebody who didn't actually work there. But I will say in one of them, or in at least one of them, there's a character whose name is Emerson, not related to me, but I was still like, they must have seen something
those
that I
rights
worked on and
videos.
able to like grab the name. And ultimately, yeah, I definitely think it would be like a really great thing to see, but it's also a bit of like a niche thing because, I don't know how many people outside of like city dwelling scum like us are even care that much.
I was gonna say like I was gonna say like the idea of a Vice intern like means something to me, and like I know people that everyone I know knows people that did that, but then it's like if I go talk to like my brother or sister, they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Exactly. And that's where, it doesn't quite justify the expense unless you could somehow make the experience feel, sort of like the universal experience of a young person, which, I mean, a lot of young people do know about it, but it's a question of like whether or not they care about it. And that's what's ultimately going to get somebody to go to a movie theater for some type of realistic story about, sex and rock and roll.
I was kind of just imagining like this same idea, but it's like working at American Apparel at the same time. And then it's like suddenly this is like a really not good YouTube video that someone made rather than a full movie.
At least they didn't, spend too much money, or hopefully didn't spend too much money making it. But I do really want something good to come out that explores certain sect of then subculture during the early aughts like that. Because, it was when I was like looking up to people and, why I wanted to come to New York and why I wanted to work at Vice and try and hang out with Karen O and the Strokes and wear skinny jeans and ironic graphic t-shirts and just be like some totally cool nonplussed hipster, which I still do think looks really cool. And sort of with the revival of indie sleaze or whatever they're calling it on the web, right? Like the interest is there. But I think finding the sort of right story to get into where all that stuff can be like a really fun and authentic backdrop to a really good story seems really exciting versus like a story that is specifically about that stuff, which is where I'm like, at the end of the day, you know, young people have been getting fucked up since forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, dressing really stupid while doing it. And that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, it would not be easy to pull off like a good movie about this. I can't even think of, can you think of like something that's like actually specifically tried to tackle what we're talking about?
I mean, there's a new thing that's coming out right now, being worked on. It's an Apple TV series called City on Fire, which is like a detective crime drama set in New York City in 2003. And, you know, they're trying to do something with that. And then there's like, you know, if you want to look back and look at like stuff that sort of set the aesthetic, right? There's Skins and some, you know, reality style shows, including like the joke reality show that Vice made called like Dalston Superstars or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Even if you really want to look at like aesthetics, right? You could point to something like 500 Days of Summer, or Garden State, or
oh yes,
what was I just thinking of? Even Scott Pilgrim, which that stuff sort of I think transitioned a lot of the looks into the mainstream, along with like, you know, the Taylor Swift like putting Converse on under a pantsuit and being like, I'm a hipster now, and everybody's like, yes, that is exactly it. But I don't think anybody was wrong about that to a certain degree. And if you look back through the photos, everybody's sort of on camera being documented as such. But I don't know that there's anything notable that is specifically about that era. But watch, you know, somebody's going to listen to the podcast and be like, oh, what about this movie? It's so obvious. And then I'll be like, you know, I'll eat my hat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they should just try to do a Skins revival that takes place in like 2010. Anyway, that wouldn't be good, probably.
They'll probably do that.
Yeah, that's like, I could imagine that happening any minute.
I mean, let me Skins revival.
What year are you born in? If I may
2000.
ask. 2000.
Sorry, 2000. No, 1992.
Oh, same as me.
Yeah. So, you know,
Sweet.
Probably the same frame of reference.
When's your
Skins?
What day is your birthday? What day is your birthday?
January 20th.
Okay. It's not the same day as mine. Mine is May 29th. I just thought it'd be really crazy if it was the same day.
We had the same birthday, totally.
Like the same year. That would be crazy.
And the same, down to the same exact minute. And then it turns out we're the same dude. And we're locked in an endless struggle of light versus dark where it's become indistinguishable, you know, who the good guy or the bad guy is, as we've been after each other since the 40s. You know, it all comes back to this endless cycle, man.
Over the past 2 months, it's been kind of a wild ride. I recently was the featured singer on the new Macklemore single Next Year. It came out recently.